for renewal, so, or review, so, I mean,
As long
we're
as
not
it's
gonna have...
adding, yeah, as long as we're not having to sign another contract, just to
I'll
add that
second
on there.
Dan's motion.
If he remakes it, because it's already been called.
No.
You gotta redo it.
I don't wanna hear it repeated. Come on, Dan.
You're cha-ching,
My
sound like
motion
it.
is that we enter into this, addendum, with Xerox for the printer for Public Works.
Contingent on...
The attorney's,
For
approval of
the
their
current period, at least.
yeah, of the current contract.
I'd second.
As long as we don't have to sign another contract.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm kinda like, we don't wanna
Well,
do
it
that.
comes up in a year or so.
Yeah.
In the meantime,
Right now,
putting the
yeah.
plan together for the whole city.
What I can confirm right now is this document says term of 36 months.
Yeah, so that should be next May.
right?
No,
Starting
that's
over a year
the
ago.
one from May of '21, right?
Well, I don't know.
I think that's 36, because I think it's 5 years.
It was.
So it would be 3 years from right now because it matches up with the 5-year lease.
Yeah.
Or 5-year
But
contract.
it still doesn't extend us
It doesn't.
beyond our current.
Got it.
Right, and that's what we don't want.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second to approve the addendum to the Xerox amendment dated May 4th, 2021, in order to lease and replace copies from the Public Works Office contingent on final approval by city attorney. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 12, consider approval of ordinance number 1377-2023, amending Chapter 4, Business Regulations of the Code of Ordinances, City of River Oaks, defining short-term rental and providing for the standards and review process for short-term rentals, amending Appendix A, fee schedule, providing for administrative fees associated with permitting and inspection of short-term rental properties. So before we give this to staff and/or the attorney, it's kind of an update for those that are here tonight, might not have been here a couple weeks ago. I don't think I'm out of line saying that I don't think any of the council, if we had our 100% of our choice, I think we would probably all like to prohibit short-term rentals. The problem with that is the court's decisions that have come down in the last couple of years are consistently saying that cities cannot prohibit short-term rentals, but that they can regulate them and require permitting, inspections, have certain conditions where they could potentially forfeit their license if they're out of violation in certain areas. So that's what we're trying to kind of get in front of tonight, is being able, because we do have several in town, some probably aren't problematic, but some are problematic, so we're trying to kind of get in front of that to make sure that we give staff the tools to enforce them, other than just saying, hey, it's kind of the Wild West, and if anybody wants them, the courts are saying we can do it. So that's kind of it's kind of one of those things, if you just look at this on an agenda, if it looks like any of us are trying to ramrod short-term rentals through, that's absolutely not the case. So I guess with that, Marvin, do you have anything you want to point out?
I sent out for any comments from the last meeting. I didn't get any. So unless the attorney and I talk today, you want to go through them individually and talk about them, or you want to let the audience speak first?
Yeah, I was going to ask after Marvin if you'll come up to the give your name and your address and your thoughts on
Eric
it.
Simmons, 1455 Long.
Okay.
And so I just wanted to come up here and support for Airbnb.
Okay.
I have 8 Airbnb rental places, but they're in Fort Worth. I have 99 units. I own 99 properties in Fort Worth. And I'm a big opponent for it because I see what it does for our local neighborhoods. My properties, I mean, one, whenever you're an Airbnb, have you ever stayed at Airbnb in the first place?
Yes.
Okay, so whenever you go stay at them, you see they're nice. Like my wife, she gets online and she looks and she's like, okay, this is a nice house and it's in a nice neighborhood. We look at the crime rating, you know, we're going as a patron to that, like in St. Charles, we went there and we got Airbnb there. Spend our money there, it improves the city. Same thing like one of our biggest attractions here is the Cowtown. I mean, we get a lot of money for tourism. So River Oaks capitalizing on this. See, Fort Worth is shutting it down. They're doing something it's unconstitutional. There is a lawsuit, and we're working at it. I mean, I'm joining up with lawyers and getting this thing going, because it is unconstitutional, that they're infringing on our rights as a property owner to be able to dictate what we want to do with our properties, as long as it doesn't infringe on our neighbors and stuff. And so going back to the idea of you're a host on Airbnb. When you're a host, you're either a host or a super host. When you get notified as a super host, well, you have like perfect properties. So therefore you can request for the most money, right? So what's the benefit for City of River Oaks when they have that? Well, the benefit of it is you guys will get more tax dollars from, you guys can impose a hotel tax. And it's a great thing. I mean, you know, so why is that good? Well, you need revenues, of course. On my side, I have a property. If I'm going to be a super host, my outside of my property has to be perfect, as well as my inside. I have to have the nicest of the nicest. I mean, like, updated everything, because my competition is a drover, right? And so when families come into the city of Fort Worth to bring their money for Cowtown and to be a tourist, because we're becoming a tourist city, we need to be capitalizing on that. So when they come in for it, where do they want to stay at? They want to stay in a nice Airbnb. Well, if we have these across our city, and if you guys just put in there like two or three with the police chief, if he gets called out or code compliance gets called on that residence, you revoke it.
And I think that's, and I'm sure you're probably, I'm sure it's like anything else where the level of offenders or agitators is probably a much smaller percentage, but
That's right.
when I think of them as the ones that are, put it this way, when my wife and I go to one, there's two of us, we're very quiet, I'm sure nobody even knows we're there. The problems are, like we had at the last meeting, and I'm sure this isn't the case with yours, you know, there's a house that they're bringing 10 people in to have a party on Inspiration Lane every weekend, and that's where they become problematic. So I'm not,
That should be shut down real quick.
Exactly, and so
I'm
that's
so in favor of that.
right, and so I'm sure that's one of the things that it gives folks like you a black eye that you don't deserve. So, yeah, that's the plan, is to regulate it, permit it, and like to point out, if there's, I think it says 2 violations within 12 months or 3 and 24 months, that we can potentially revoke the permit. So,
Another proposal or another idea, well, maybe another idea is, you know, so I have rental properties here in the city of River Oaks, and so whenever it goes vacant, I have to do a CO, certificate of occupancy, right? And I have to pay dues, which brings more money in the city of River Oaks. So maybe registering all of the Airbnbs, or whenever someone wants to turn their house into Airbnb, you guys send out letters saying that you need to register them, and then y'all do a certificate of occupancy, y'all give a CO for that place.
I think there would be an annual inspection in this, so yeah.
Every year annual.
It would be same difference.
Because on rental properties, it's not every year annual.
Right, no, it's utilities.
New tenant,
Yeah.
water. So, all right, so y'all are leaning all for it, and I'm so glad y'all are,
Can
because
we learn something from
capitalizing on it's
Can we
great.
ask some questions of you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just curious, you have so many, is this your full-time gig, or do you?
Yeah, I own 37, my dad has 64.
Oh, my word.
And we've been doing it, my grandma, my uncle has, our family had close to about 500 rental properties right here in Fort Worth. And my grandmother started in the 70s in River Oaks, and she purchased, she had over 138. And so, right now, I am managing and owning 99 units.
But it's sort of a family business.
It's me and my dad, and then we have workers.
So how did you end up on Long?
On what?
How did you end up on Long? Was that one of y'all's properties that you moved into, or did you choose to move to Long, or what?
I just own a bunch of properties.
Okay, that one was available.
Yeah, we just own a bunch of properties.
Okay. I'm curious what your occupancy percentage is on a typical VRBO.
Okay, so my oldest daughter is the one that's starting to run all these Airbnbs. She's renting them from us,
Yeah.
right? So she's already rented. I